Hello. I'm so glad you're here so that I can wish you a happy Sunday and a great big welcome to the Advancement Center. Yes. And also, welcome to the world of magic and miracles. Wow. So happy to be here. I'm just going to get a little organized here and comfortable. And here we go. When each new day brings possibilities never even considered before, I write in my journal. That's my go-to. And I address it to Simeon. Now, who's Simeon? For those of you who don't know, he's Robert's brother, his twin brother, who dwells in another realm and has been my dearest confidant ever since Robert introduced us. So here it is. It's such a beautiful way to start our visit. So here goes. I wrote this at 8:23 this morning. And I said, "Dearest Simeon, today is my broadcast day, and it will be all about children. Everyone at some time was a child. I plan to speak about children and childhood. Anything I should be aware of? I love and cherish your words. Love, Barbara." And immediately, if not sooner, he came back with, "Dearest Barbara, there is no more important topic. The world is being run by children, all grown up. By a world of differences. Some healthy and loving, and the rest are selfish. There is selfishness, cruelty, and as a result of childhood's as a result of childhood's mislived, and I can't read my own writing. Oh, and secondly, evil parenting. Wow. A most important topic. Love, Simeon. Boy, what a send-off. And I thought I was just going to talk about children. Children. We've all been children. Every one of us. And no two stories are the same. Some have been raised in love. Some have been raised in resentment. So let's see what else is here. Wow. This whole subject came across uh, a large part on the internet. And this is what I saw. I don't know if you can see it, but it couldn't have been larger. Yeah, I'll read to you what it says. Imagine if schools actually helped kids identify their strengths. And this is by exploring their talents from a young age and growing their skills over the 12 years instead of letting them all follow the same routine and leaving them confused in life after graduation. Now, that couldn't have been a bigger sign saying, Barbara, this is a topic you cannot overlook. This is urgent. This is our world. And we must take care of our children. Wow. So I ask myself, how did we get to this point? Well, perhaps we have long lived and held beliefs and dictums. You know what those are. You better do this or else. Yeah. And they've all been here forever and prevailed. I still remember a sign on my school bus. It said, children should be seen and not heard. Wow. What do you do with children who are bursting with spirit and excitement and happiness and joy? You sit on them. Children, and this is another long-held ridiculousness, children are by nature unruly. They must be lovingly trained to fit in with our civilization and flourish. What a bunch of hogwash. And that lasted, and people swallowed that. And that's not what it is. And then they went on to say, well-behaved children are polite and agreeable. Yeah. Look at the parents. Naughty children deserve punishment. Oh, really? Children absorb the atmosphere. The sins of the parents are visited upon the children. Oh my God. I'm so glad we're alive today and with the Advancement Center, so we don't have to even listen to this hogwash. Ah. And then they go on and say, this is all well and good, and it doesn't start the first day of kindergarten. Thousands of years of attitudes and considerations regarding children must be taken into account. Children should be seen and not heard. Oh my God, what did I trip over? Children are my most precious topic to even consider. And I consider it with you. Well, I wrote, this might sound like Greek to many of you. That's good. there are still vestiges of narrow-mindedness with an unusual and occasional surprise when someone says, out of the mouths of babes. Oh, come on, give me a break. Do you know children as I know children? As you when you were a child? My God. Yeah. Wow. Wow, that was quite a beginning and quite a topic. Where do I go from here? Well, today is March 12th, and it might be another date when you're watching this, but today in our time, it's March 12th. And on March 9th, just 3 days ago, was my father's birthday. He's no longer at this location, but I feel him very strongly. His love is still felt by all his students over the years. And he was my proving ground that love is the best teacher. In fact, when we had a memorial for him when he passed, hundreds of students who he has touched their lives over years showed up, and they were all standing in honor of having been taught by my father and his love of teaching, his love of people, and most assuredly, his love of children. So that's why my topic of children came up for me today. Wow. Now, a little bit of history. In 1972 was my Independence Day. I had just been divorced. My 3 children were successfully in school and doing well. But what was I going to do? I had no idea. I remember standing in the kitchen and saying, okay, Barbara, now what? So I said, oh, you better finish your school. You only had a couple of years of college. Get your degree. So with a lot of sweet talking to recoup some of the credits that I had accumulated all sorts of ways, I finally matriculated into Queens College. And in the School of Education, there was a progressive program where it was amazing. They had us creating and composing music by making sounds in the classroom, like keeping beat by opening and closing drawers and Venetian blinds. You couldn't get more creative. And then we got our placement, and I was placed in a 4th grade of a school out in Long Beach. And that was my education. When I actually sat with children I didn't know and watched them fall in love with authenticity. Not teacher trained, but someone really and truly loving them. And that's what I did. I just came from my heart. I had no teacher training. I had no anything. But I just went from my heart and remembered what it was to be a kid. And I can't tell you how many decades ago this was. Yes, I can. That's a lot. But I'll never forget Jeffrey. Jeffrey was kind of shunted off to the corner because he didn't quite catch on as quickly as the other kids did. And I befriended him and listened to him and finally understood that his nemesis was fractions. I bet a lot of us had that at one time. Now, how was I going to teach Jeffrey fractions? And it came to me. It was so simple. I cut out a huge circle of paper. And I said, okay, Jeffrey, this is a pizza. He got that. I said, and it's delivered to your house and you can eat the whole thing. Okay? But then if a friend comes over, you have to split it. Well, you know about splitting, you have to share. So each split down the middle, half over here, half over there. Okay? He got it. I said, what if two more people come? He said, oh, you cut that in half. I said, believe it or not, you know fractions. And what are those called? How many people are there? He said, 4. I said, okay, each one is a fourth. They each get a fourth of that one pie. Well, this went on, and I was having such a good time because I had reached Jeffrey and he got it. And that was the beginning of a lifetime of teaching. Teaching with joy, with love, and care. That's all. As a matter of fact, I was still attending Queens College while I was going to Long Beach. And we got an assignment. And he said, I want you each to make a game for kids. So I went home that night, sat my 3 kids on the couch, made a fire, and said, okay, you got to help me. What are your favorite games? And what do you like about each game? And we went through every game they had from, I can't remember, Chutes and Ladders, everything, and the best part of each game. So they really were on my creative team. And I came up with a game. And it had moves, and it had thank you cards, and it had challenges, and it was fabulous. And I put it on a game board that I volunteered. And I started to bring it to class, my 4th grade class. And the presiding teacher allowed me some time to play the game with the kids. Well, they took to it like duck to water. They couldn't get enough of it. And they were sad when we had to do spelling or something else. At any rate, my fondest memory is coming to school each morning and having them hang out the door saying, "Did you bring the game? Did you bring the game? Did you bring the game?" So that was called the game. And those kids were my teachers. And as I said, this was Long Beach. So we were only one block from the boardwalk at the beach. And we would take a walk there. And sure enough, every sunny day, it would be lined up with all the grandmas and grandpas. And I said to the kids, now you can be a reporter and interview these wonderful people. Why don't you go and ask them, what should we ask them? Oh, where were they born? So the kids ran up and down, and they got all kinds of answers. And of course, the grandmas and grandpas were just only delighted to talk to these beautiful young children. And friendships started. So I can do a whole broadcast on this particular part of my life. And suffice it to say, we invited some of those grandmas to come to class and teach us how to cook, how to make things. And it was magical. So that was my beginning of becoming a teacher. And for me, discovering that I've always been a teacher. I just never had the opportunity. And that's what it's all about, is to be given the opportunity to do and feel what you know you're here to do. That was wonderful. So it truly was the first day of the rest of my life. Back to my dad. I think I appreciate him more and more and more. And he gifted me the most precious book called The Prophet by isn't that funny? His name just escaped me. Oh, Khalil Gibran. I'm sure you know this book, The Prophet. And what he said about children could not be truer. And that's what I'm going to read to you today. Our children. That's our children all over the globe. Not necessarily a direct relation, but just children. Your children are not your children. They are the sons and daughters of life's longing for itself. They came through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thoughts, for they have their own thoughts. You may have you may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you cannot visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backward, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the focus from which your children, you are the bow from which your children are living arrows and are sent forth. The archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite, and he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness, for even as he loves the arrow that flies, so he loves also the bow that is stable. I love that poem. I love Gibran. I love my dad. Gibran also said, we choose our joys and sorrows long before we had experienced them. So I guess just recently I chose my joy, and that has been art. So here's what happened this week. I guess Mandar wants us to be into structures. I hope you like it. This has been a most meaningful time with you for me today. Thank you so much for joining me. And I wish each and every one of you to have a perfect life with perfect health and a totally magic and miraculous future. Thank you for joining me. I am Barbara.